to be another palettes I'm interested in video, and I think this is possibly the first one that I'm doing in 2021. I actually did film this back in I think March or February, but when I was filming it, I was like hardcore falling asleep that I just decided that I would, put some makeup on today since I'm home still quarantining and refilm this video. Hopefully I will be able to get all my thoughts out because again, it's been very difficult keeping my train of thought. So let's just go through a few of the palettes that I'm interested in. I did actually eliminate quite a few since the last time that I did film this video. Sorry, just wanted to grab a straw just in case if I get thirsty while I'm talking. Okay, so the first couple of palettes on my list, two of these I already own, and I will share the ones that I picked up, and then one of them is on the way, and then one of them I am intending on picking up as soon as Ulta gets their 20% off coupon. So the first palette I want to mention is the Nabla Side by Side palette. I'm just going to search the websites as I go rather than, having the pictures in my phone because I don't think I really have those pictures anymore. So I'm just going to pull it up on the Ulta website. So the first palette that I'm still interested in that I really want to try this year, I've just been waiting for Ulta's 20% off coupon to come out because usually they come out with their coupon during, I forgot to put eyebrow gel on. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to brush through them super quick. I don't really need to set my brows just sitting here doing nothing. So just filming a video. So this is the Nabla Side by Side palette. It's pretty much their only all neutral palette. And it comes with 7 mattes and 7 shimmers. So it's a pretty good ratio of equal finishes, and I keep on looking at this palette and I'm still set on getting this palette. I've been wanting this palette since last year when it came out, but I ended up getting 3 other palettes during Christmas. If you guys remember, I got the 2 Glam Light palettes and the Melt palette, and then I got 2 Christmas gift palettes from Riri. I got the Alamar palette, and then I got the Pat McGrath palette from Debbie, so that's why I took a break from picking up eyeshadow palettes in January, and now I'll share with you guys the 2 palettes that were on my list that I ended up picking up. So I ended up picking up 4 eyeshadow palettes so far this year already. I'm not sharing one of them with you guys yet because I haven't hauled it yet, but I have hauled the other 2 that I'm going to share with you guys. So anyway, this palette is the only other one on my radar for April. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to get it yet. I have to see whether or not I really want it still. I mean, I really do want it still, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about the Nabla formula, and I'm about to bring up another palette in just a minute that I was still interested in getting, but I don't know if I'm going to get it anymore. Out of all the palettes that I was considering getting, this is the only one I'm still really set on getting. So I just think it would be a great everyday neutral palette for me. It has a great set. I think it actually has 8 mattes in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it has 8 mattes and 7 shimmers. So I think that's a really good ratio of color, even though there's 16 shades and that would only be 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 mattes. Wow. COVID brain. They just look so pretty, and I've heard nothing but amazing things about this palette, and this was in the top 5 choices of people that I watched that got this palette. They really did love the palette for 2020. So that's why I'm really interested in getting that palette still. So everything that I've tried from Nabla so far, I really love. And then there's definitely some other brands that I'm really interested in trying this year still. I just have been, trying to, just buy my purchases in moderation and not like buy everything at once. So that is the first palette. Then the second palette is one that I decided to pick up, and I'm talking about the Urban Decay Naked Wild West palette. Now I might as well share it because now I have it in my collection. I don't have to just show you guys a picture. So this is what this palette looks like. If you guys didn't see my first impressions on this palette, I will probably leave it linked below. So it comes with their standard dual-ended brush. And then this is the palette. It comes with 12 shades. It comes with 8 mattes and 4 shimmers. And I just thought that this would be a great addition to my collection because I can't use my first Naked palette or my third Naked palette anymore because they're getting hella old. And every time like I want to go and use it, I can smell that it smells really old. So I thought that this would be a good palette to get to, you know, get an updated version of the Naked palettes because I didn't want to necessarily repurchase either of those. I think the first palette is definitely discontinued, but the third one, I don't know if that's still available either. I'm actually not really sure. But when I saw this one, at first, I didn't want it. And then I kept on looking at it. It was kind of like the Honey palette. When the Honey palette first came out, I didn't want that palette initially either. And then I picked it up and it ended up being my favorite Urban Decay palette ever. That is still the case. The Honey palette is still my favorite Naked palette and still my favorite Urban Decay palette I've ever tried. This one, honestly, I probably will rank my Naked palettes soon, but I don't really love this one as much as everybody else does. I don't find that the mattes blend that great. They're a little bit dry. I mean, the looks that I come up with this palette are pretty, but honestly, it hasn't really like, I mean, you guys know I'm a neutral lover, and even though this has colorful pops in here of blue, I just feel like, again, if you took out this shade and you took out the blue, it would just be another neutral palette. Like, there's really nothing special about it, but that's why I got it. I even noticed that the formula in the Naked Heat palette, and I actually did use that like a couple weeks back, isn't that great anymore. So I was like, I kind of wanted to get an updated Naked palette. And so far, I'm just not like head over heels in love with this palette. I do use it quite often. I've used all the shades so I can let you guys know what I think of it. It's good, but I don't think it's $50 good. I wish that the Naked palettes were a little bit cheaper because honestly, like again, the formula is good, but I really love the Honey palette way more. I find that I can still create more looks with that palette despite that palette has a lot of neutrals in it and this has some color in it. I find that palette is a little bit more versatile than this one, even though a lot of people are like, oh, this palette is so versatile, you can do so much with it. I don't really feel that way. Like, just because they put a blue turquoise shade in here means you can add a pop of blue to any look. I do think that that's going to be pretty trendy for the spring and summer. I see that the big colors for this summer are going to be yellow and blue, and those are a lot of the looks that, or the colors that brands are going to be pushing this year. But this, again, I think it's a good move for Urban Decay. It definitely fits with their aesthetic of their brand. But I don't think this is something like you need to spend your money on to go out and get. I got it because it serves my needs of replacing my older Naked palettes, but I probably wouldn't have gotten this if it wasn't a Naked palette. I probably would have just skipped over it. So that's all I have to say about that one. And then the other palette I ended up getting that I wasn't even planning on getting, and then I was like, oh, it's so cute, I kind of want to get it. So I ended up picking up the ColourPop and Disney Bambi palette. So this is my second ColourPop palette this year already. And then I will share in a minute that I actually have picked up 3 ColourPop palettes this year already, which is a little bad because last year I picked up 3 palettes in total the whole year. And now this year I've already picked up, out of all the palettes that I've picked up already in 2021, 3 of them have been ColourPop. So I'm kind of not doing that great. But this palette, honestly, I was not expecting to pick this up. And honestly, I only just got it because it's a Bambi palette. Like, if this was just a regular palette from ColourPop, I would probably totally skip over it. Because for me, I don't use like these super small palettes. But I just thought that these colors were just so pretty to like create a simple everyday look with. Like if I'm in a hurry, but like honestly, like I'm not going anywhere these days because I can't. So I haven't been in a hurry to go anywhere. But I really do like the quality of this palette. They are super smooth. I'm not swatching anything in this video because I talk about these in my favorites video. So if you guys want to see my thoughts and some swatches on them, you can check out that video. I also have a full first impressions on all the products that I tried from the Bambi collection as well, where I try out this palette. And I just do think that these are very buttery, and even the shimmer in here is stunning. You guys know that I love this type of gold shade, and these like warm crease shades are like my favorite shades to wear for neutral shades. The only thing, like I said, about this palette is that it is very overpriced. I wish that they would have made these palettes like $9 or $10. That would have like been a little bit more reasonable. Their Disney collabs are starting to really go up in price. And the fact that this is $15 and some of their newer palettes are like $20 that have like double the amount of shades in them, it's pretty damn pricey, but it's just so cute. So I would only recommend this palette if you are a Disney lover like I am. I do think that these are a good addition to your collection. But the fact that this is only a quarter of the price of the Urban Decay palette, that is kind of really expensive. So just keep that in mind. It's actually a third of the price because $15 would be a third of of this. Even though this is like $50, I'm just like estimating. But it's just so cute, and I thought that this collection was adorable. That's the only reason why I picked it up, but it is very overpriced. So, okay, and then the next palette, I mean, this palette I was going to pick up no matter what. It did not matter what the colors were in here. I was going to get this palette, and I'm going to share with you guys which palette that is. I think you guys already know because I did share this on my Instagram, that I picked up the entire collection of the Disney and Lizzie McGuire collection. So this is what the eyeshadow palette looks like. And I think it's just such a pretty palette. I do think that this color scheme works perfectly for Lizzie McGuire. So I ended up picking the entire collection up, not necessarily keeping the whole collection for myself because I'm actually giving a couple things to one of my friends. I'm keeping the majority of it because I was going to order the eyeshadow palette, the 2 blushes, one of the lip gloss sets, and the lippy scrub for myself. But then, like, my friend said that she wanted the Glitterly Obsessed glitters and she wanted one of the lip gloss sets. So I'm going to give her that stuff and I'm going to keep everything else. Like, I'm going to keep the stuff that I just said. Because I wanted that stuff anyway and I was going to get it anyway. Like, duh. But it's just because, you know, I grew up with Lizzie McGuire. Lizzie McGuire was my favorite Disney show. I just literally would come home and watch it every single day. I absolutely loved it. It was just my favorite Disney Channel show. Like, Lizzie was the girl. Like, she was the it girl for everybody around my age. I was literally growing up with her because I was the same age as her. She was like 14 or 15 in the show, I think, and I was like around 13. So like I pretty much grew up with her. I was going through high school around the same time she was in the show. So it's just very nostalgic for me. And the colors are just so pretty. It has like some pinks, some purples, this like really beautiful lime green with this lime green shimmer. And that's probably why I picked it up. But like, honestly, if you cover this up, it's still a really pretty like purple pink palette that I do think that the color scheme is perfect for Lizzie. So, and then the blush is so cute with the little like flower embossment. Just like the whole collection is so adorable. I was like, it just makes sense for me to pick up the whole thing and then give my friend the stuff that I'm not keeping. So that was the third ColourPop palette that I added to my collection this year, but like I said, it didn't matter what colors were in that palette. I was going to pick it up anyway. I actually thought that they were going to do more like blue and pink and kind of like do like the colors more of the outfit that the animated character wears, but they didn't do that, but it's okay. Okay, and then the last palette that I'm kind of really interested in getting, but I probably am not going to get it. I'm just going to pull it up in my pictures because I already have it in my camera roll, is the Melt Cosmetics Mary Jane palette, and this is what the palette looks like. I'll show you another picture. Here's some swatches of the palette. They haven't really officially swatched it yet, but here's some of the promo photos. And it looks like such a beautiful collection. And now, since Mary Jane is actually legal in New York, I can start talking about it as much as I want. So yeah, I really have been wanting a Mary Jane themed collection for a long time. I skipped over their Smoke Sessions palette because I thought it was just too much shimmer for me and I just wouldn't use it enough because it was mostly a green palette, which when do I wear green every single day? Not that often. And then the 420 palette, which came out last year, it was like too matte for me. Like there was only one shimmer in that palette. If that palette had like 3 shimmers in it, I probably would have gotten it. But it was not enough shimmer. I'm like, I'm not gonna get it just to wear one shimmer on my lid from that palette every single time I use it. I'm like, that's just boring to me. But this one, when I first looked at it, it looked like it had more shimmers in it, but it's mostly shimmers than mattes in this palette. There's only 4 mattes in this palette, which is not bad, but there's 6 shimmers in it. So it has, 10 shades, and there's 6 shimmers, which I think is a little bit too many. I wish it had like 4 shimmers and then like 6 mattes, or like 5 shimmers and 5 mattes, so then it would be a good ratio of shimmers and mattes. But I don't know why there's so many shimmers in the palette. Some of them look a little bit similar to each other, so I don't know if I necessarily need this palette. It was on my radar, but the 2 silvers in the palette look pretty similar. But other than that, most of the shades in this palette actually don't look too similar to each other, because sometimes Melt can really do that, where some of their shimmers look very, very similar in like an 8 or 10 pan palette, especially the Beetlejuice one. But it looks pretty. Like, I am seriously debating on getting this, but there is like a couple of other palettes that I'm eyeing that I don't know if I really, really need that, but it would be a practical palette for me to add to my collection since it's a neutral palette. So I am thinking about that one, but I already have 2 Melt palettes in my collection, so I don't know if I necessarily need to get that one, but since it's 420, since it's Mary Jane themed, I'm kind of interested. So, okay, then I'm going to talk about 1 or 2 palettes that I really was considering buying, but I don't think I'm going to get this one now. And I'm just going to pull up Kaleidos. And the palette that I wanted to get is the Angelica Nyquist and Kaleidos palette. So this is what this one looks like. It's a 15 pan palette that comes with, give me a second. Mom was giving me a snack. She just cut up an apple. I know it sounds like so, like childish when I'm like, oh, my mom gave me a snack, but I am pretty bad at cutting up apples, so when she cuts it up, she usually gives us some of it. It's not like, oh, here's a snack for you, like we're 5 years old. So anyway, so the Kaleidos palette comes with 9, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 mattes. Why do I keep on saying 9? And 5 shimmers. Now, every time I look at this palette, I think it looks so pretty. But when I actually think about what shades I'm going to use, even though there's only like 5 colorful shades in this palette, and most of the shades are very neutral, which is funny because usually Angelica is like all about color, but I have like just fallen in love with her channel the past year, and I really just want to support her because I really, really love her. But when I look at this palette more and more, I need to think about the practicality of actually wearing this. And since I already have the House Labs Stupid Love palette, which is pretty much my warm tone and like colorful palette, since it has some blues in there and it has a lot of those warm tones in there, I don't wear that palette enough that I'm probably not going to wear this palette enough either. So I really need to think about that. That as much as I want to support her, this palette wasn't actually supposed to restock until May, but then she actually announced in one of her videos like a couple of days ago that the palette's actually going to restock sooner than they thought, and it's going to restock by April 15th. But I don't think I'm going to get it then because I actually wanted to get it back when it restocked in March, and then I missed out on it. It was March or February. I think it was February, so I think it's been like a month since it's been out of stock. Because it takes a while for Kaleidos to make the palettes again. Damn, I'm like really coughing now. And it takes them a while to make the palettes again. But as I'm looking at this palette, I really don't think I'm going to use it enough that I don't think that I need it. And I ended up missing out on getting the palette last time, that I kind of took that as a sign that I don't need it. So yeah, so that's I'm probably going to skip over that one. And then another one that I ended up skipping over was from Black Moon Cosmetics. And I was looking at the let me just actually put in cosmetics, because when I actually put in Black Moon, it gives me the actual moon. So this one is called the Urban Myth palette, and a lot of people like talked about this one and said, oh yeah, that would be a really beautiful one for you to add to your collection, and this is what it looks like. So it comes with 5 shimmers and 5 mattes. But when I actually look at this palette, I don't think that this palette has enough shades in here for me to create a full look with. It looks really pretty, and I've heard great things about their formula. But out of like these, only these 4 shades, like these olive greens with these like green shimmers, I could create a really nice green look with that. But again, I have to think about that I'm really not going to use these colors all that often. Then I'm like, I don't need this palette. So and then there's only one red shimmer with a matte brown, and then like one blue with a blue shimmer, and then one purple with a purple shimmer. I'm like, it's not enough for me to create a full look with. So I just ended up skipping over this one. I will like keep my eye on what Black Moon comes out with though in the future, because I am interested. Okay, and then a couple more indie brands. Let's just bring up Alien Cosmetics, because I have been keeping my eye out on their palettes, and there have been a couple of palettes that I've wanted to pull the trigger on and get. But honestly, most of the palettes that are available now aren't really ones that I'm interested in, really. So it's kind of easy for me to say no right now to these palettes. Yeah, mostly a lot of them are like the majority of the palette is shimmer. So it's kind of been easier for me to say no to them. The only one I would kind of be interested in would be the strawberry milkshake one. I think that one is sold out. No, it's not. Fairy Frolic. And this one has like a couple of shimmers and some mattes. But out of the ones that I was interested in before, those are all discontinued. Like they're not available anymore. So the only one that I'm going to keep my eye out for, which won't be until next year, my friend on YouTube, Moment with Chip, actually just got a really, really exciting thing happen where she got chosen to be the collaborator with Alien Cosmetics in 2022, and she is actually going to be starting to work on a palette with Alien Cosmetics. So I just wanted to say congratulations to her. It's really amazing. She deserves all of these opportunities coming to her. She is so ridiculously beyond talented. She's an amazing makeup artist, and I've been friends with her on YouTube for a long time, and I saw on her Instagram stories that she was going to have an opportunity to make her own palette with, I think it's a palette with Alien Cosmetics. I'm just beyond proud of her. It's so exciting. So I would rather wait for that from Chip, because I would rather support that, and I know it'll probably be a color story that I'm going to be obsessed with. Then I'm just going to wait for that to come out instead. So I'd rather wait like a whole, like another, like, I don't know, like 8 months until it's available, just so I can support her. And also because I feel like it'll be something that I want to get, as opposed to the color stories that are out right now, which I'm not really interested in. So I just think that's awesome. I just wanted to say congratulations again. I think that's amazing. So, okay, so then the next brands, let me bring up the other two brands that I'm really, really interested in trying over the other ones that are on my list before that, because this palette I actually am going to be picking up in the summertime. So the brand that I really, really am interested in trying, this is like my number one brand that I really want to try, is Odins Eye. I've been hearing amazing things about their products, and the palette that I really want to try, I don't think it's this one. I think, no, it's not that one either. Where is it? It would be helpful if the pictures actually showed the palette. Where is it? These are all like, the palettes are all closed, like before you actually click the picture. Maybe it's this one. No, it's not. What is it called? No, that's not it either. Where is that? Oh, the Frisia Diva palette. So it's like really, really pretty packaging. And then the inside looks like this. Is this not a palette that screams summer to you, and a palette that screams Caitlin, take me, I'm yours? Because these are like my favorite kinds of colors to wear. So it comes with 12 shades, and it comes with 5 mattes and 7 shimmers, which is a little bit much for me. But I think that this palette is going to be such a gorgeous palette to create warm looks with in the summertime. So I'm 100% set on getting, picking up Odin's Eye probably in like June or July. Because probably after the Lizzie McGuire palette and the Nabla palette, I'm going to take a break from palettes in May. And then I'll be ready to try some palettes in the summertime. But I'm trying not to overwhelm myself as much as last year. But this palette looks so gorgeous. And then there's definitely other things that I'm interested in trying from their line. Like maybe one of their blushes. It's so pretty. But there are a few blushes that I'm eyeing right now. And then their highlighters are just so gorgeous. Like not just from Odin's Eye, but like maybe the Melt blushes. And I've still been eyeing some other ColourPop blushes. I really need to slow down with blushes too. It's just like too many. But their highlighters look stunning. That has like the beautiful like embossment in the packaging is just so freaking pretty. And I've heard amazing things about their highlighters too. And then I might try one of their lipsticks, because I've also heard that their lipsticks are amazing too. I'll just pull up one of them. This wouldn't be necessarily the shade that I want, but they're only no, not $10, $13. I'm not sure how much they are in US dollars, because this is Euro prices. But these are really pretty colors. I would probably try like this shade right here, like this peachy color. Oh my god, so pretty. It's called Love Jasmine. So I'm super excited to try this brand. And that brand has been on my list for a while, so I do want to try some stuff from them. And then, I mean, I want to try Divina Cosmetics and Cleona, but honestly, I'm probably still gonna wait a long time to try these brands because for me, I really have to be practical about single shadows that I honestly really don't use them too much at all. Cleona, I might pick up in August for my birthday, or I might tell my boyfriend to give me like a gift certificate to Cleona's website just so I can pick up a few of their shadows because I've heard nothing but amazing things. So I kind of want that as my birthday present this year. Okay, so then the next brand that I wanted to touch on is Midas Cosmetics. But with Divina, I might wait a little bit. Divina was going to be my single shadows brand this year, but now I'm not really sure because again, I just don't really use single shadows too often. I really just have to be practical and be like, Caitlin, you're not even going to use it. Okay, and then the palette that kind of caught my eye recently was the Unveiled Berry Nude palette, and that's what it looks like. I've heard really good things about Midas's formula. I heard that the formula is really good. And this is just a really pretty like pinkish slash like warm tone palette. I don't know why this orange is in here. That's kind of throwing me. I didn't realize that there was an orange in there. But I just thought this palette is so pretty for like pretty berry looks, but now actually looking at it, it's not really that berry toned. So the one I wanted to get was the Cool Nudes actually. It's just a basic neutral palette. I think it's a really pretty palette. There's only 3 shimmers in here and some really pretty neutrals in here. So I thought that this would be a really pretty palette. But again, I don't know if I need to add this to my collection. I was just keeping my eye out on Midas Cosmetics just because I've heard really good things about their formula. And also the palette that's so pretty, but again, I don't need this. I just think it's such a gorgeous palette, is the Flower Bomb eyeshadow palette. It's so beautiful. And Debbie actually tried this on one of her lives and she said it was gorgeous quality. She said that she loved it. So this comes with 21 shades, so it's a little bit overwhelming for me. And again, I would never use all of these shades. And there's also this Lemonade palette, but I honestly don't need this because I have the Aha Honey palette from ColourPop, and that serves all of my yellow eyeshadow needs that I don't need another yellow themed eyeshadow palette, but it is really pretty. But yeah, I think out of all of these, the Cool Nudes palette would be the one that I would be the most interested in. And then, besides Cleona and Divina, the other brand that I was really interested in was Lethal Cosmetics. But I think out of all 3 of these brands, I'm probably going to skip over all 3 of them for a while because I was kind of set on getting them for a while and now I'm kind of just slowing down again. But you can create your own palette with Lethal and with Divina, which is probably what I'm going to do just so I can pick out some palettes, some shades myself, and probably pick out some neutral palettes just so I'm not like, just picking a palette. This palette does look really pretty. This is the Velvet Dusk palette, and I do think it would be a really pretty palette for me to pick up possibly in the fall. So this might be something I consider getting, but again, I kind of want to keep my eye out on like what else they possibly come out with, and I'm not like just gonna pick up a palette right now that's available that like I'm not set on buying because like again I have to be really picky about eyeshadows. But it looks like a really pretty palette, and I do think looks like a really beautiful color scheme for the fall time. And then the other brand that I was still keeping my eye on was Makeup Menagerie. They did come out with a recent palette that's really pretty, but again, I kind of just skipped over it. Menagerie. I'll just bring it up real quick. And the palette is the Flight Club Artistry palette, and it comes with 5 mattes and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 Shimmers. It's a really pretty, like, plummy berry kind of palette for the springtime, and I do think it's a really pretty palette. But again, I kind of just am keeping my eye out on what they're coming out with, and I didn't think I necessarily really needed this palette. And I've told you guys in the past that I skipped over the Killer Purr one because I thought that there was just too many matte shades and not enough shimmers, but I am keeping my eye out on what they possibly might come out with in the future. Okay, then, the last palette I was interested in was the Dior Backstage palette. I might pick that up in the summertime, but I actually, again, just picked up another palette. Let me just show it to you real quick because you guys aren't going to see this video until after I haul everything anyway. So I might as well show the other palette that I ended up getting that I didn't plan on getting, but I found this at my Nordstrom rack, and I've been kind of wanting to try a Bobbi Brown palette for a long time now, but I didn't want to spend, you know, $50 or $60 on getting a Bobbi Brown palette. So I found this Bobbi Brown High Bar eyeshadow palette at my Nordstrom rack, and I picked it up, and that's the palette I'm wearing on my eyes today, and this is what it looks like. And I decided to pick this up because I was like, you know, the colors are really, really pretty. Not that I necessarily needed this palette, but I just thought that this was a really pretty palette. I felt like it was a palette I would use quite often, and I have used it a few times now. And this was the only one that was left at my store. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want this. And I thought that the colors were a color scheme that I would use quite often. So I put this one in the crease today. Then I darkened up the crease more with this shade. And then I put this one to define the crease. And then I just popped on this color all over my lid. Put this one on the brow bone. And then put this one on the inner corners. And that's pretty much it. And I really like it. It's just a really easy palette to use for everyday looks, and it performs really, really nicely. So I just picked this one up on a whim, and I don't regret it. I really like it. So I'm glad that I got that. So that is the 4th palette I've picked up this year, and then I got the Lizzie McGuire one. So okay, and then I got the Animal Crossing stuff that I wanted already, so I'm not going to mention that. I picked that up a while back. I picked up the 2 blushes and one of the lip duos. And then the e.l.f. bite-sized face duos. I haven't been able to find those anywhere, but I did pick up one of their putty blushes. So I'm probably not going to pick up one of those bite-sized face duos. I haven't heard the greatest things about the highlighters in there. I heard that the blushes were better. And again, I just don't need any more blushes since I just picked up the putty blush from e.l.f. And I also picked up one of the highlighters from them, from Marshall's, one of the metallic highlighters that I don't really need the face duos. Okay, so just 1 or 2 more brands. I also picked up a couple of things from Tower 28 that I shared a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not going to bring up Tower 28 now. I already picked up their gloss and one of their blushes, and I love both of them. So but I already shared that in my haul video. I just wanted to mostly concentrate on eyeshadow palettes in this video. So the next brand that I am definitely going to order from, and I probably will end up picking up one of their eyeshadow palettes as well, is called Zisa Cosmetics. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this brand that I am super, super interested in trying some of their products. So I will bring up the couple of things that I am interested in trying. Let me bring up their eyeshadow palettes first. I'm still very torn on which eyeshadow palette I actually want to try. I keep on eyeing them, and I'm still not sure which one I really, really want. So I keep on looking at the Dreamweaver one. I keep on looking at the 9 Pans. This is one of, there's like 3. Basically, these are the 3 eyeshadow palettes that I'm interested in, and I have to pick one of them, obviously. I think the one I'm pretty set on getting is the Rose Garden. It's such a pretty, like, pinky palette for, like, the spring and summertime. And honestly, I don't really have a dedicated pinky, blushy mauve toned palette that I think that this one would be perfect. Like, I kind of still want a palette that has like dedicated blushy pink tones in it. Not that this really has that many, but it does have a few. And like the embossment in these palettes are so stunning. So I think I'm really set on that one, or I would get, I don't know if this one's a little bit too cool tone for me, but that one is the Caramel Chestnut. Again, a really beautiful neutral palette. Or I was going to get the Stunning Crystal eyeshadow palette. I don't know why that one's not pictured here. That doesn't really make any sense. It's like more of a warm tone palette, so I probably would get that one over the cool tone one. I'm not really sure, but I think the pink one is so beautiful. So I think that one I'm like pretty set on getting. And then I would want one of their highlighters, which I will bring up that as well if I could pull it up on the menu again. Makeup, face. Let's see. I want to get one of the highlighters, and I also want to get one of the blushes as well. I would probably get, there's such pretty colors. I'm not sure. Either this Sakura shade, which is like this really pretty peach, or this cream cinnamon shade, which is kind of like a pinky. It's actually more of like a nudish shade. I think I would probably get this one. That one is so gorgeous. And they're only $12. So I'm really interested in those. And then the highlighter is, we're almost done, you guys. I'm not going to be talking your ear off for much longer. The highlighter, I don't know why it's so hard to find the highlighter on here. I really want to get the highlighter and then probably one of the lipsticks as well. It's just really hard to find the highlighter. Okay, and then I can't find the highlighter right now. I'll just Google the image. But I did also want to try one of the lipsticks as well. And they have like these velvet matte lipsticks, which I probably will pick up one of those. Or I will pick up like another one that I saw that for some reason I can't find it now and I can't remember the name of it. But their packaging is just so beautiful, and I've heard such amazing things about how beautiful the packaging is. So I've been keeping my eye on the brand for a long time. I actually saw their Alice in Wonderland palettes when they first came out, and I was like, what is this brand? It's so pretty. And then I've been eyeing like the things that they have now for a while. Let me just bring up the highlighter. This is what the highlighter looks like. Look how pretty this is. So I'll probably get that shade. It's the Aurora Dreamland Highlight Powder. It just looks so beautiful. And you guys know I'm such a sucker for highlighters. And the packaging is just so pretty. Was this the other one? Actually, yeah, I think that's the only one. Yeah, this is on the website. I don't know why you can't find it directly in the face products, but there's two colors. There's this lighter one and this like darker one. Obviously, I want to get the lighter one because of my pale ass skin. So I really want that highlighter too. Okay, 2 more brands and that's about it. I am still interested in trying some stuff from Kiko Cosmetics. I do want to try their bronzer and their blushes. But again, I'm just trying to slow down with blushes and actually even bronzers too. I did want to try the Kosas bronzer for a while, but then I heard that the bronzer actually doesn't smell good really at all. And honestly, I don't want to deal with like something like not smelling good, because even though like, you know, I'm getting over COVID, I still don't want to deal with something that doesn't smell good. So, all right, actually 3 more brands and then we're done. So the next one, I'm just going to pull up on Ulta again, is Oma Beauty. I've been interested in trying Oma Beauty for a long time, and I did talk about one of their eyeshadow palettes in one of my last videos. But I'm still interested in trying their foundation and their concealer. And I've also heard amazing things about their mascara as well. Where is it? But I've also heard that that the mascara is really heavily scented. It's right here from Andrea Mattiliano. She says that it's really, really strong. And then the other palette I was really interested in trying that I still have my eye on. I think this would be such a beautiful summer palette, so I might pick it up in the summertime. I'm not sure yet. This is the Black Magic Allure color palette. Again, I've mentioned this before. It has 5 mattes and 5 shimmers. I'd be way more interested in trying this one over the Black Magic palette, because this palette I feel like you can create so many more looks with. So I don't know. I've been hearing great things about the brand. I've heard great things about the concealer and the foundation and the mascara. So those are the things I'm really interested in. Also, I saw Desi try out their products, and she said that those were the things that she was really interested in. So I've been keeping my eye on them. I'm probably going to pick up some stuff from them during the Ulta Prestige coupon that comes out along with the Nabla palette. I'm probably going to pick up my Lancome foundation and then some Oma Beauty products, and that's probably it. And then the last 2 brands. Okay, this brand, I've been so hesitant to pick up some stuff from them. I know I'm not really covering too many palettes anymore. So let me just bring up, is that the right? Okay, so the brand that I'm talking about is Cosmetics. But I've been hesitant on picking up their stuff because they are expensive. Like, I thought Cosmetics was like, they had first come out in Walmart. So I thought that they were like a cheaper brand. But then like their prices are like $35. And I'm like, why is it that the Melt blushes are cheaper than Cosmetics? Because I've been really wanting to try the Venetian Rose blush because I hear such amazing things. Or try like a couple of shades. Venetian Rose and Faded Clementine, or I wanted to try Magic Hour and Venetian Rose, but they're so expensive. Like, if I want to get 2 blushes, it's like $60. I'm like, I'm not paying that. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, 2 blushes would be like $68, and like that's how much my Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics order was for 3 things. So I thought that was a little bit steep, but I wanted to try her blush, and I wanted to try the lipstick tinted lip luminizer, the Venetian Rose one as well. And the lipstick's $22, which isn't that bad. But unless she has like a sale or something, I might wait till like Black Friday to see if she does like some type of Black Friday sale, because her stuff is expensive as hell. So I'm just like, no thank you. And then the other brand, which is way cheaper than Cosmetics, that I am probably definitely going to pick up 1 or 2 of their blushes. I think it's Moira Cosmetics, not Noira. I don't know why I put Noira. I actually haven't been on the website yet, but I've heard amazing things about their blushes. So let me just bring them up real quick. And the blushes that I've been making the rounds for a lot of people, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about these, are the Moira Signature Ombre blushes. And they look so freaking beautiful. And they're only, I could get 5 of these for the cost of one of those Cosmetics blushes, because these are only $9. I could get 4 of them, because that would be $36 for 4, as opposed to one of the Cosmetics blushes. And these look so gorgeous. So I'd probably pick up like this sweet peach color, probably the first 2 colors, the sweet peach and the tender rose, or maybe the mellow pink. They all look so gorgeous because they have such a, oh my god, their stuff is so pretty. Like, their packaging's adorable, and everything's only like $9. But they all have this gorgeous like embossing in them, and they're so cheap. So I'm like, I think that those would be really beautiful summer blushes. So I would think, I'm considering picking up those blushes over any of the other blushes I'm considering, because they're so cheap and they're just stunning. And then the last brand, actually I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. We're done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was really fun to film this video. I ended up filming it a lot longer than I thought. I think it took me almost an hour to film this video. I thought I was going to be done with it already. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know what you guys think of all of these brands that I mentioned. Again, I didn't bring up Divina or Cleona's website because I'm still on the fence whether or not I'm going to get that stuff. But there's not too many palettes that are on my list, honestly. It's just the Nabla palette, the Melt palette, the Kaleidos, and the Odins Eye, and the Zisa. So that's only 5 more palettes that I'm interested in this year. So that's not too many. I think that's doable. That would only be 10 palettes for the whole year, which is way better than last year, which was like 23 palettes. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at CBW819. I love you guys. Bye. And please let me know what you think of these brands. Bye.